Hey everybody, it's me. This is another part to my series about To Catch a Rapist. And the last one, I talked about how the tables have turned, how I was served a notice of harassment from the man who raped me after I found him. And now I am at the courtroom. Now I'm going into court to face the man who raped me as a defendant, because when I found him, I tried to call him. He hung up the phone. I called him a number of times. I actually reached out to his family members, and now I'm facing him because he has filed a notice of harassment against me. And so I ended the last video about I showed up at the courthouse, and the courthouse was really small, and I walked down the stairs and I looked to the left, and there was a female sitting there. And my lawyer said, well, that's his lawyer. And I said, okay. And so my lawyer and I went to the right and sat down a different hallway. And this is a very small courtroom. The courtroom we sat in was similar to the size of a classroom. Just two tables, his table and my table. And the court opened. My lawyer and we waited. Him and his lawyer walked in first. They sat at the first table, and then we sat at the table adjacent to them. So I was within 20 feet of the man who raped me. And he had brought his wife. I had brought a victim's advocate from Turning Point Advocacy Center. I'd have to look that up again. But they had given me someone to support me in court. And so my lawyer and I were at the right. They were at the left. The judge was up front. There was, person dictating or whatever. And so my lawyer said, just don't look at him. And I didn't. And they started out. I have a CD of the court case, because they do put everything on. They do record everything. So I have the actual court case. And so they started out, and they talked about how I had harassed him, and I called him a number of times, reached out to his family members. He was and this and that. And my lawyer said, yeah, that's true, she did, and because he raped her while serving in the military, something along those lines, and went in that direction. Sorry, there's a car next to me. Doom, doom, doom. And so his lawyer basically said, tell him your story. And he said, the kicker was, I'll back up a little. I was told the day I got called about the paperwork that I was going to get served, I was notified by my youngest sister that the man who raped me was in contact with my oldest sister, and she was feeding him information about me. And so my oldest sister and I she has still not told me why she did that. And I'll go into that another time. So anyways, we're in court. His lawyer, he's speaking. He said, the reason I hung up on her when she called was because her family told me she was crazy. And I'm afraid for my life. He said, my wife and I don't keep our blinds open. We're afraid to leave the house. Blah, 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 blah. I lost my position and this and that. And so he was claiming to now be a victim of me. And so my lawyer went on to say that this man raped her in the military. She was just looking for answers. She was trying to get resolution, maybe an apology, something. And his lawyer drilled me. Did you call him? Yes. Why did you call him? And this and that. And she's about how he's lost sleep and his life has been turned upside down, and he can't function like a normal person anymore, and he's lost a sense of freedom and this and that. I wish I had the recording, because I would play it. And so then they said, well, tell us why you tried to contact him. And I said, while I was serving in the United States Army as a medical specialist. I was raped by this man. I was raped and sodomized. My life has never been the same. I was looking for answers. I was looking for an apology. I was looking for something. And I said, that's why I tried to reach out to him. And so the court, I literally just sat. I was very calm. I breathed deep. Um, and I stated my truth for the first time in a courtroom. And the judge said something to the effect of, he said, I have worked with victims of domestic violence, sexual trauma, rape, etc. Throughout his career. And he said it is not uncommon for a victim of sexual trauma to reach out to their perpetrators, to not as a source of revenge, but as to reach out and try to get answers, or try to get something, and try to get resolution, and try to get a period end of sentence. Let's just please give me something so I can close the chapter on this. And he said what she did was not uncommon. It's normal for victims to reach out to get answers. And he said because of that, and because I see her state, that I don't believe she's going to continue to reach out, because if she does, then he could get me with harassment and this and that. And I'm not going to allow you to have a notice of harassment against her. And so with that said, we're going to close this case. And I literally started sobbing. I was so overwhelmed that I was bent over the table sobbing. I couldn't even stand up. It was like I was clutching myself, saying, thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much. Because for the first time in my life, someone believed me. And it was a situation, I'll tell you, that I will never forget. I felt 1,000,000 pounds lighter. I, for the first time in a long time, saw the sun. I swear to God, Tinkerbell was sprinkling fairy dust all over my world because I couldn't believe it. And I was so thankful to this person for helping me. And so that's what happened. I didn't get an apology. I didn't get an acknowledgement. And the judge also said, he said to the man who raped me and his lawyer, he said, you know, what's interesting is when her lawyer, my lawyer, and me stated that he raped her, that you did not deny it happened. So that was another nail in his coffin, and that was it. I found out because I had also, prior to going to court, had reached out to the American Legion he was so proudly a member of. I reached out and I sent the affidavit from his crime, from the woman he raped a year after me, and I told them my story. They released him from his position at the American Legion. And so they didn't know, because in Washington County, those that are least likely to reoffend are deemed a certain level, and their records are not made public. You can't go on a website and look up people like they do in our state. You can look them up, look up their mugshots, find their records, etc. In Washington State, it's not like that. When you're least likely to reoffend, they protect you so that you can't be discriminated against in the workplace, so that you can date and have a normal life. You're protected because then your children's teachers and family, you know, this and that, their children, friends of your children, their parents won't find out your records and such. So I wish I had come forward sooner. I do carry guilt and shame because he did go on to rape someone a year after he raped me. And I don't know how many other victims there are. But I hope this helps someone. Sorry about my hair. It's so messy today. But anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry for getting emotional. This was just a very poignant part of my life, but it did help. So that's my story. I'll be back.